Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Dean, or as most of you know me, Twisty, and today we're going to go through our round 2 preview for the AFL season. It's a big one. Let's get underway. So the first round, all the home teams won. 9 of 9 home teams got home, which sets up a very interesting second round. All of the home teams this week will not have a win to their name. All the away teams will have a win to their name, and I think this week we could do the complete turnaround and all the away teams could get home. So let me explain why. First game of the round tonight is Richmond v Collingwood. It's going to be a big clash. I will be there for sure. If you want to know where I'm sitting, just always look at my Twitter page. I'm always going to have like a photo of where I am. Anyway, it's going to be a huge clash. It's the battle of sort of the injured teams. So let's break that down before we go any further here. So in terms of who's missing for Collingwood, of their best 22, Nathan Brown's playing, but he's got a sort of a hamstring potential issue. Jamie Elliott's not playing, still Sidebottom suspended. Dane Swan, broken leg. Travis Varco's got a hamstring injury, and Marley Williams has a knee injury, so he is still not playing. So Collingwood, really, that's their core midfield group. It's really up to Greenwood, Treloar, and Pendlebury, from my perspective anyway, to sort of take up that reins and make sure that they can play as good as possible. Now, if we and Jared Witts as well has a hand problem in the ruck. Now we take a look at the Richmond injury list. And we see Brett Delidio's not playing, Reece Conker's not playing, Shane Edwards is not playing, Chris Yaron, the obvious one, and Big Ivan will not be playing. So there's a lot of injured players of the best 22, so we're not going to see these sides at their finest in tonight's matchup, but I think it's still going to be a very close encounter, and it could just go either way at this stage. For me, I think Richmond's going to get over the line, purely because I'm a Richmond supporter. I have faith, I show hope. Richmond gets Sean Grigg back. He's one of those players that sort of just connects the mids to the forward line. He plays a lot on the wing. He's always finding space, always accumulating disposals. I feel like he's the one who's going to set up a lot of plays for them, and we definitely missed that last week. I think the youngsters will be good again, and I just think Richmond's got slightly more depth than Collingwood. Sorry, Treloar, but you got this one wrong. You should have gone to the Tigers, and they're going to get over the line tonight because depth always wins. Next up, we have the showdown. Port Adelaide and Adelaide. The Power coming off a win against the Saints last week. The Crows with a narrow loss to North Melbourne. This is a really good one because it's going to be probably a nice battle in the ruck between Jacobs and Lobie. And it can always go up 50-50, the showdown, regardless of where the teams are on the ladder, regardless of personnel who are playing, who are missing. And I think that Port Adelaide will get the job done here. They looked very good in the final quarter last week, running over the top of St Kilda. Might have taken them a little bit to get their mojo. But Robbie Gray is just a superstar of the competition. He will drag them over the line, along with Wingard, who always seems to step up in showdown games. And I just think that Port Adelaide will start 2-0, and the Crows will be 0-2. Next game is Saturday afternoon, 2:10 time slot. Essendon versus Melbourne. No brainer. Melbourne's going to win this one. They looked outstanding last week for 2 out of 4 quarters. The first quarter against the Giants, they were very good. And then that final quarter, all of their big players stood up. Jesse Hogan, Nathan Jones, these types of players. They get Angus Brayshaw back in this week. He can only add to Melbourne's potential midfield calibre that they have there. And they're going to be a very, very good side this year, Melbourne. They're going to be thereabouts in terms of finals, but not quite sure if they're going to get there yet. They're teetering on the edge of pushing sides over the line. So I think they'll definitely smash the Dons this week in Melbourne. Saturday twilight, we have Brisbane taking on North Melbourne. The Lions, they kicked 100 points last week against the Eagles. Regardless, they didn't get over the line. They still lost by 10 goals, but they did kick 100 points, which is somewhat of an achievement for them. They get Zorko back in, Josh Green and Daniel Merritt. Mitch Robinson, sort of the big injury for them with his calf. He'll be missing in the midfield. Obviously, Zorko will slot straight back into that sort of position. North Melbourne playing against Ryan Bastanak for the first time since he has moved over to the Lions. Jed Anderson goes out with the hamstring injury, and Kane Turner comes back in for North. It's going to be a good game, this one. I think Brisbane are always underestimated at the Gabba. They can play very well up there. Just like that. There's some games where you just don't expect Brisbane to do anything, and then you realise they're playing at the Gabba, and they can pull up some surprises up there. But I don't think they're going to do it this week. I think North Melbourne are going to be a very good side this season, and they should get over the line because they're North Melbourne. I think they've lost 8 of the last 9 up there, but they won last year in Boomer's 400th game. So North Melbourne, for me, they're going to get over the line in this one. First of the Saturday night games is St Kilda versus the Western Bulldogs. Paddy McCartan, the number 1 draft pick, comes back in. Templeton goes out. No change for the Bulldogs after their big win over the Dockers last week. They are in ripping form. They are playing at Etihad Stadium. It is Maddie's match. Nick Riewoldt 300th as well. Rui 300. He's been a superstar since he's been the number 1 draft pick. Nick Riewoldt, very, very good player there. I don't think that the Bulldogs will get over the line in this one. Hang on. No, I think the Bulldogs are going to get over the line very easily in this one. St Kilda were a lot more competitive than I thought they would be last week, and that's a positive. But the Bulldogs at Etihad Stadium, even though it's an away game, the Bulldogs are just going to be way too strong, and they will get over the line in this one. It's a huge game on Saturday night. Fremantle versus Gold Coast. You wouldn't have picked it as such a big contest coming in, but it could be the match of the round, in my opinion. The Gold Coast Suns, they came off a big win against the Bombers last week. Does that sort of diffuse our expectations of the Gold Coast, only beating Essendon? And Fremantle getting slaughtered by the Bulldogs last week. They got so badly smashed. It was just not funny. They got outscored in the first quarter for the whole game. And I think this week they got some personnel back, some key personnel back. Michael Johnson, Aaron Sandilands, Alex Pearce and Ed Langdon come back into the side. But I just think that the Gold Coast, they are a side that is on the rise. Who's going to kick the goals for Freo? Pavlich is basically your number 1 guy. If he doesn't do it, you're left with Sandler, Walters, Ballantyne to kick, 6 between them. They could do it, but given what they threw up last week, I'm not quite sure they can. Sandiland's the big one that comes back in, but for the Gold Coast, they just look like a more complete side, in my opinion. Kolajasny comes back in, Matera comes back in, so Took Miller goes out. But I think Kolajasny will be able to provide that run off the half-back line. Gary Ablett is in sensational form, and Lynch up forward, he's going to play again, I think. I think he didn't get suspended this week. Let me just check. Yeah, no, Lynch, he didn't get suspended this week, so he's still in. He can kick goals. Archie as well, he's very good. So I think the Gold Coast, upset of the round here, calling it early. This is Dean's pick of the week. The Gold Coast Suns to beat Freo. Another big clash, the Giants and the Cats. It's going to be played up in Canberra. Geelong, big winners against the Hawks last week. Dangerfield, how good was he to watch? He was amazing last week, Patrick Dangerfield. Menzel, Cowan and Hall and Smith into the side. I doubt any of those will come in. No changes to their side last week, I'm assuming. And for the Giants, 1 change has been made. Patton has been brought into the squad. James Stewart has been omitted. So I think the Giants will, if they play Jonathan Patton, they got a better chance than if they don't, because there's no huge forward up there. Rory Lobb was very good last week. Just needed to kick more accurately. I think that's sort of where the Giants let themselves down last week. They missed some opportunities. Stevie J taking on Geelong. That's going to be another big talking point out of this one. But the Cats last week, gee, they looked good. I can't go past Geelong. I have not been on the bandwagon all preseason. I've been saying it's all talk, it's all talk. And last week they looked very good. So I'm going to back in Geelong this week to beat the Giants. The grand final rematch on Sunday afternoon. Hawthorn versus West Coast coming up at the MCG. This is going to be a big game here because the Hawks could potentially go 0-2 And that's what I think is going to happen. I think all the teams are going to be 2-0 and 0-2 at the end of this round. I think the Eagles will get over the line in this one. Lewis Jetta plays his first game for the West Coast. And then for the Hawks, you look at their injury list. Segler's going to play, but he's got an iffy back. Fitzpatrick still gone for a couple of weeks. Bradley Hill still 5 weeks away. Luke Hodge 6 weeks with a broken arm. Roughhead long way away. Liam Shields not playing still. Spanger still not playing. So there's a number of players for Hawthorn that are not playing in this game. It is a very, very tough ask for them to beat West Coast, who looked on fire last week, by the way, in the form that they're in. So Lewis Jetta, you would think, is going to play this week for the West Coast. Obviously, it's extended squad, so we don't know whether or not he's actually going to be in. But I am going to say now, Lewis Jetta will play his first game for the Eagles this week and be very good. Provide them with some extra run, which they really don't need because they have so many talented players in that midfield. Kennedy, is he going to kick 100 goals this year? Who knows, but I think the Eagles over the line here. Last game of the round, Carlton versus Sydney at the Etihad Stadium Sunday Twilight Football. The Blues last week should have got over the line against the Tigers. I admit they were the much better side. You look at all the key stats. Carlton won. They should have won that game. Just probably didn't take their chances at the opportune moments. Dale Thomas will come back in this week, I think, and Charlie Curnow may potentially play his first game. Not quite sure, though. For the Swans, Talia goes out, Ted Richards comes back into the side, and it's going to be Sydney again. It's going to be the Sydney show. It's going to be the Buddy show. Because he was brilliant last week. He kicked 4 goals. He could kick 100 goals as well this season. So watch out. He's much more accurate than he used to be. And back at Etihad Stadium used to be his old stomping ground. Buddy used to just destroy teams at Etihad. So I'm thinking it's going to be a big day for Buddy, and the Swans will get over the line. Anyway, here are my tips once again for the week. Big one, obviously, being the Gold Coast to take down Freo. I think just about everyone else is the favourites to win their respective games, but it's going to be a tight round. Let me know who you think's going to win. I think I got 6 tips last week, so I'll be keeping a tally of that. And I will see you guys at the end of the round on, Monday. Monday I'll have my round wrap up as well. My vlog of where I'm going to the game tonight will be up on... It'll be up on Sunday. It'll probably be up on Saturday, maybe Sunday. If I'm good enough, that'll be on Twisty. And yeah, that's about it for today. Let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Last week you guys were telling me North Melbourne were going to win. You told me Melbourne were going to win. You guys called that. And you also told me Geelong were going to win. And so I got all 3 of those tips wrong. And you guys told me that I was going to get them wrong. So good job, everyone else. Poor job from me. But until I see you guys next, have a good one. And I will see you all later.